and He-Man, and maybe might touch on Neil Gaiman again. Maybe. I've got some thoughts, as well as I don't know, man. There've been a whole bunch of news today. Some Witcher stuff just dropped a few hours ago. WitcherCon was today, so we might graze that a little bit as well. But let's jump right into Loki. We've all. Oh, by the way, we're joined with our friend, not just my beautiful friend Bale. Say, oh, there's an echo. Bale, say hello, buddy.
Hello, happy Friday.
We're joined with our friend Eric Canetti, the beautiful, the one, the only, the talented, the magnificent.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
All right, so I was watching a YouTuber by the name of Overlord DVD. Hey Moxie in the chat. I was watching his YouTube video, and man, dude, holy shit. Normally I agree with a lot of what this guy has to say. Not, I don't agree with everything he says all the time, but obviously, usually on the same page. Man, I couldn't have been more, of a different thought with the Loki show. I will say the first episode for me was a little slow, but I think I and I choose the term slow specifically, because some people, when it's slow, they how do I phrase this? They think slow is boring. I think it was slow but not boring, because I think they were laying down a really solid foundation for what's to come, and that has my interest peaked. But actually I want to know what you guys think. Just a quick few thoughts from what you guys thought of the first episode. I enjoyed it, by the way. I am very much interested in where this is going, because I'm a sucker for high concept sci-fi, and I'm a sucker for comedy, and the writer or showrunner of the show is they took him right from Rick and Morty, so that's the vibes I'm getting, and I really enjoy it. I'm a big fan of Loki as well. Bale, your thoughts?
I was bored out of my skull.
That's because
it's too much exposition for an episode. What?
That's because you were obviously a Slavic, and as we know, he's Slavic, so he's not even really human. So his mental capacity is diminished compared to a normal person. Eric, what do you think?
Actually,
That's offsides, but listen, I understood the mechanism of why they needed to have the episode like that, so I was intrigued. I'm awful at watching miniseries or movies, because I'm sitting here trying to understand the inner workings of, like, oh, why are they doing that, and trying to understand, like, what's the purpose of that scene. Oh, it's because you're trying to explain the world to me right now. You're trying to explain the premise to me right now.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, whether or not it moves slow, I probably have to watch it a third or fourth time. But I was trying to understand, anytime that they introduced a high concept, anytime that they introduced, set design, anytime that they introduced what the characters were wearing, or the little plot devices, I was like, okay, that's the place my brain went into. So I don't know if I could agree whether or not it was moving too slow or just the right speed.
Now, I think what they should, some shows, what they do is they do, instead of an episode a week, they definitely don't drop the entire season in one go, but what they'll do is, hey, what's up, Praetor? What they'll do is they'll do a 2-episode drop. So the first week you get 2 episodes, like WandaVision I think did that. So like this way you get to familiarize. I think this series would have benefited with a 2-episode drop. The first one lays down the foundation for the season and what's to come, and it's a great introduction. But yes, this exposition heavy. It's real world building, explaining, because they're taking us to a completely new place, and there's a lot to. We are like Loki, right? We're figuring this all out alongside of him. So yeah, a second episode would have been good, but I'm pretty satisfied, man. Now I want to address some of the criticism that I heard from Overlord DVD. Now he attacked.
Well, first, let's go over what you really liked, Mike. Like, what about it did you, upon first view? How many times have you seen it? 3 times, 4 times?
No. I've watched it about a time and a half. Once
Okay.
The other day, and then I skimmed it again today just to reintroduce myself, wet my beak a little bit.
Yeah, a refresher. What
Yeah.
stood out to you as the thing that made you go like, oh, this is pretty good. I like this.
Well, first
Name
off,
like your top three things. Yeah.
immediately the aesthetic, right? For
Yeah.
some reason, they're doing like an Art Deco sci-fi meets Mad Men, like 1970s vibe meets the
It's
meets the
definitely
DMV,
1970s, right?
right? So it's like this weird hybrid of like I said, it's heavily relied, at least at the TVA, heavily reliant on the 1970s aesthetic,
Yeah.
somewhat 1970s aesthetic mixed with modern day sci-fi isms. So it's just immediately it's just like it feels like an anachronism, which is perfect for the show because that's what the show is about. Also, I love Loki. I love Tom Hiddleston's performance as well as Owen Wilson's performance, and I feel like it was nuanced. Again, slower, but I liked that. Listen, man. Loki has been one of my favorite characters in the MCU for years now. I'm so glad he finally has his own show, and I'm invested. So Loki, or Tom Hiddleston's performance, followed by the show's aesthetic and world building. I don't know if you want to lump those together. And I guess the third and most interesting thing for me is the multiverse, right? Or rather, it seems like they are equating.
The potential.
Yes, it seems like they're equating temporal branching, or temporal anomalies to the main timeline, the sacred timeline, as they say. They're equating that to a multiverse. So rather, it seems like in this series, alternate timeline means multiverse, which is it's tricky, man. It's really tricky to write a good sci-fi time space story, because you're almost always going to bump into temporal paradoxes, as well as you're throwing in the multiverse too. It's going to be complicated. It's going to be heady. But personally, I love that. I love thinking about stuff like that.
What about you, Bill? Things that you said it moved slow for you, didn't it?
He said it was.
Anything about the episode that you liked?
It was
Anything?
I do like the aesthetic, even though I couldn't pinpoint it to be like, it's a 1970s, yada yada yada. I like the sci-fi aesthetic, and I do like the themes of time travel.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did a lot of smart things, not the least of which the Jurassic Park Mr. DNA, but the Marvel MCU version of it to explain the timeline to you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's to your point earlier, Mike, where you're like, oh, it can get really confusing super fast when you're dealing with like multiverses. What I liked is that they established like this is the one that's supposed to, this main one is the one that's supposed to work. This is the one that everyone is supposed to adhere to, and therefore anything outside of this is an anomaly. I'm like, oh, that's a great rule setting,
Yeah.
So that's why you guys are all sort of kind of you guys are deviants.
Yes.
You guys are not supposed to be happening.
You are not
I like
here.
that a lot.
We got to fix you or get rid of you. And it's somebody pointed out a really interesting analogy online. I can't take credit for this, but we see there's not a flashback. They time travel to the 1500s, the 16th century, in France, in this kind of Joan of Arc style, timeline, or I guess the sacred timeline, but that time period. And we see a ton of anachronisms going on, and they're in pursuit of we're assuming who's going to be the antagonist of the series. Which, by the way, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. They say that this is another alternate timeline Loki, who they're pursuing, which is most likely going to be Lady Loki, which is why they wrote gender fluid on his thing. Lady Loki is canon for anybody who's out there who's like, no, this is wokeism. It's like, no. This is not that. Please don't confuse it with that. Anyway, in that they point to the stained glass window of a devil. This little kid points to who as in who done it, this thing. And the analogy made was that the way the church pursued and burned at the stake Joan of Arc and similar ladies, that they think that is the TVA is essentially that, and that they're building us up like the red herring is Lady Loki. The assumption here being that Lady Loki is going to be the perceived villain, but the true villain is maybe perhaps the TVA, maybe even perhaps what do they call them? The Time Masters, the Time Fathers, the lizards that Loki called them,
the space
lizards.
lizards.
Space lizards.
Here's the stuff that I liked about it. Number one, the production value is so much better across the board.
Oh my God, it's night and day. It makes the other shows look worse by comparison.
Yeah, by comparison, but the show WandaVision in and of itself looks appropriate for the kind of story that it was trying to tell. It didn't go big in sci-fi until it really needed to, about 2/3 of the way into the series. So, but the way this thing, just the opening shot, is really super good. None of it felt cheap to me, right?
No, not at all.
The rooms were meant to look. At first, I was like, oh, those rooms kind of come off a little small, but that was the point. Is that it was supposed to look bureaucratic and claustrophobic, and it's supposed to feel like all the kind of stuff that you're supposed to feel anytime that you have sort of any governing body working
very
with a backwards
the bureaucracy,
way of technology.
the bureaucratic nightmare. I think they nailed right on the head.
Yep. It was. I think it was perfectly highlighted when he had him sign off on everything that he's ever said in his entire life, and the little piece of paper came out again as he said something else, and he was signing off on it. Really, really, really nice touches like that. I really super like that. The other one was that I think that Tom Hiddleston can pretty much carry.
Oh yeah,
he can play all the parts, in my opinion. he'd be freaking okay, right?
Oh yeah.
And the last thing is, even if it's not the sexiest, the first episode did a really, really good job of explaining to me what's happening.
Oh,
right?
dude.
So at no point am I sitting there going, it wasn't the mystery box version of WandaVision. I'm like, what the heck is happening? Because they've done that already. If they were to do that another time, it would get really old super fast. My preference is you establish the rules for me now so that if and when you do decide to break it, I have a fair understanding of the rule that you broke, and maybe that'll be the thing that makes me go like,
yes,
oh my gosh, you actually broke that rule, and that's great, right? The pace and the premise is and I'm sure we're going to get into this, which is, and it's bothered a handful of people, which is, everything that has ever happened is already predetermined for you.
Yes, the space lizards deem it so.
And nothing. Right. It's basically saying, hey, you have no free will. It only appears like you do. But it's basically like the Matrix all over again.
But
yeah, it's commentary on fate and destiny.
But see, the difference is, and this is how some time travel stories go. Either you can change time, or the fact that you're traveling back in time only means that you traveling back in time was always destined to occur. So you still can't change. So it's like whatever you changed, guess what? You were always meant to change that. There could be no discrepancies, which is fair. It actually fixes a lot of temporal paradoxes. You don't run into that if it's one singular timeline. However, Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen, for example, doesn't seem to be able to change time. He in some iterations of Dr. Manhattan, he describes himself as only being a puppet that could see his strings. He has no sway over the timeline, even though he could perceive the future and the past simultaneously. It's just he's just watching it all unfold in front of him.
Yeah.
The difference here, the key difference, is that is not necessarily the case. It is the case because the TVA deems it so, because the space lord, this time space lord lizard things deem it so. So you can change time, but not with the TVA around, which I think is a really cool premise. It's a little
right.
Yeah. Because I like the
and that's basically that's the counter argument to, hey, there's only one time ever, right? And there is no free choice. I mean, here's the thing that I reacted to when people overreact to the episode and saying this, and it's a terrible premise. It's one episode, you don't know how everything is going to play out, right? The premise is set up in front of you so that it seems super restrictive, but by the end of, how many episodes is this supposed to be? 5? 6? So 8, within 8 episodes, it could be everything that you just said, Mike, which is to say, it can't be any other timeline because the time lords say that it's not okay. But by the end of this, this could be the exploration of why it could be okay. Like exploding all of those handcuffs that has you in this predetermined timeline already.
Right.
And therefore, the multiverse becomes possible. Because they introduced it in the Jurassic Park thing, right? In the cartoon.
Yes.
Which is there was multiverses and everything was going crazy.
There was a war.
And now they kind of reined everything in, and now it could explode out from there. So people just need to calm the fuck down, man. It's one episode.
Yeah, it's one episode, and again, they are tackling something which is tough, man. Especially for when you got to dumb it down.
Yeah.
You've got to dumb it down. I used to think back in the day. Here, let me show you a little Miss Minutes here. Back in the day, I used to think, man, how stupid do they think we are? We've got to, we've got to be spoon-fed all this stuff. Also, by the way, how ripped is fucking Tom Hiddleston? Did you see that? Did you catch that?
Oh, he got ripped. He got ripped for the show. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I used to think, oh man, they treat us like we're idiots. Who's this for, man? Like, we're adults. We could pick things up. We can't, dude. I was watching The Winter Soldier in the theater opening night. And throughout the thing, you see the Winter Soldier, right? And it's juxtaposed throughout the movie with a bunch of snippets and montages from the past, right? You see Bucky saying, till the end of the line, Cap, all that stuff. And then, it's essentially like, they could not fucking telegraph it any harder who the fuck the Winter Soldier is. And then he takes off his mask at one point. And the audience is quiet. Save one gentleman in the back. You hear this when the Winter Soldier's mask comes off. Oh my God, it's his boy! It's Bucky! That's who the movie's for.
For sure.
When they're explaining to you, Miss Minutes, you're like, oh my God, who needs this unnecessary exposition? It's for that guy. They were like, that guy needs to understand this show. And I think they did a great job.
And I really believe that you have to make Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
I don't necessarily think it's dumbing down, but the length of the entire season could be the problem, like we've had with other shows. Because time travel can be complicated, complex, and difficult to chew and digest for people. So you having like 6 or 8 episodes to throw people into this whole mind frame of, hey, this is time travel, shit is allowed to happen, but not really. But if it does happen, then it's quote unquote illegal.
Yeah, it's a good concern to have.
It's
a good concern to have, but we won't know until 8 episodes from now whether or not they know what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
What else was there? I think that was my 3.
Yeah.
That was my 3. And I find that the judge that was about to sentence him incredibly cute.
Adorable.
That was
right?
top.
And I think she was playing it cute. I
remember her from the Tom Hanks Julia Roberts movie. And I
don't remember that.
It's called Larry Crown, and she was the meet cute in that movie. She's adorable. Gorgeous woman.
Adorable, and it is kind of like she's this like judge who actively watches people get disappeared. And she seems to like really cutesy poo about it, right? Like even like the way Owen Wilson kind of like approaches the bench.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, like, and
but
it's
the
not
whole
even
thing
argument.
is, the whole thing. Yeah, that entire, what do you call it? The entire
TVA.
They don't treat death. Yeah, they don't treat death as something really that profound.
No,
you know what I mean?
They refer to it as pruning in one mention.
Yeah. Right. Because there's a scene, and spoilers, like you said, and for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but there was that scene where they kind of lose track of Loki for a minute, and they were just kind of swinging those batons around.
Yeah.
And it happens to prune one of those guys.
Yeah.
Right. And then one of the bureaucrats in the suit and tie is like, "Hey, you almost hit me." It's like it's a nothing to. It's a nothing to them.
He's like, "I don't forgive you." And I love that. Right. By the way, I love that guy. He's been in a bunch of other stuff. He's a character actor. I believe he's Filipino.
I dig him.
He's fucking adorable, man.
Now I can't stand him.
I can't stand him either. I fucking hate the nerdy character.
Listen, he played a Filipino guy.
I found out he was Filipino.
He played a Filipino DJ from Florida in the Good Place TV show, and he was really good. I don't know. Okay. He could be a different kind of Pacific Islander. Perhaps he's Indonesian. I don't know.
Anyway. Let's go. How do you normally format these, Mike? Do you go through the entire length of the episode, start to finish?
This is super casual because what I want to do is I want to do a quick so we're only 20 minutes in, so maybe we talk about this for another 10, then we'll move on to a different subject. This is we're not doing a full recap. We're just talking about how much we like about the show. Later, when the show is done, it's 6 episodes. I found out when the 6 episodes is done, I think we'll do like a full best of and recap. Bale and I.
Full review.
But right now, we're just hitting on the stuff that we like. But I do want to talk about the criticisms from Overlord DVD, because I think calling it slow, fair. I feel like calling it boring, unfair, especially when you realize the amount of exposition that was needed, especially for the audience, and trying to tackle the super high concept sci-fi that's happening here. Anyway, Overlord DVD says, first thing he says is, right from the jump, we see Loki. For those of you who don't know, episode starts off at the end of one of the snippets from Endgame. Them traveling back in time to find the Infinity Stones when they're all in New York, aka 2012, aka the first Avengers movie. So they jump back into they don't stay long. It's just enough for us to be reminded of what happened and how Loki became a temporal anachronism or an anomaly or a deviant, whatever you want to call him. He grabs the Tesseract, he bails, he ends up Mongolia, somewhere, I forget exactly where. Immediately dude, I love that scene. Immediately he runs to a rock. Did you guys catch that? He runs to like the highest point in their animal, and then he starts dictating to them who he is.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he talks about the burden of power, right?
Yeah. But you know what? He's changed somewhat in his, like, you know, the through line of his character. He was not that version of comedic back in the day on introduction at in Avengers 1, right?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't like,
Stone Cold.
I don't know if they were leveraging everything that they'd come to discover with Tom Hiddleston. Well, so that they, you know, now they lean into the comedy part of it a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I think what should they borrow from Ragnarok, which is, by the way, you know, listen.
I hated that part.
Wait, what? Oh my god, dude! God, I'm gonna kick you off this podcast.
The comedy in Ragnarok was overdone. It was like you wasted it like 3 moments ago. It was stretched too far.
Bale is a tough one to
Bale,
impress,
man, dude, Jesus, man. I think Bale hates the MCU.
I enjoyed. I don't hate the MCU, but when it comes to comedy, for me at least, it comes to a point where you spin the same gag over and over again. It starts getting like, oh, okay, fuck you, move on. Oh, you're doing this, like the Thor spinning around in Ragnarok. You do one spin. They did like 3. I was like, oh, okay, this is getting fucking autistic. Move on.
Oh my god.
It's the same with Loki, like that slow-mo slap.
I couldn't disagree
like
more. The chat disagrees too.
Fine.
Bale, you're on your
saying...
own, baby. Bale, this is a you thing.
I know,
what were you saying, Mike? You're saying runs up right up to the rock, does his dictating,
and then immediately gets his ass kicked by the time cops, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, this YouTuber I was watching had a big problem with this because Loki's a god and yada yada yada. But I would argue that he literally just got the shit kicked out of him by the Hulk, right? We have to, like he says flippantly, it's been a very long day, right? But to us, his day just began. To him, he literally just lived through the entire Avengers film, and he was beaten to a fucking pulp by the Hulk and the Avengers, and lost.
Sure.
And now we're picking up with this, and then now he's like, all right, he literally says, I've had enough of the fucking armored heroes for the day, and that's when he gets clipped in the face by a time cop gal. Overlord DVD had the problem with it. This is what he said. This is another example. This is another example of Disney wokeism showing the weakness yet again of the white man being put down. I was like, this is such a fucking reach, dude. I'm like, oh my god, dude. It's like, but yeah, I'm like, oh my.
I mean, there's times when he's at, you know, I would say that statement is accurate, but in this particular case, it's like,
dude, I'm like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, you've become the very thing that you rally against. Where it's like the same way I would shit on people who are super progressive because everything that they see is seen through a certain lens of the world, so much so that you're so burdened by it that you can't settle down at one moment to enjoy a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Without
everything is sexist, everything is racist, you know everything is homophobic.
Like that's you're the opposite of that.
Well, we're there now though, right? Like as a what do you call it? As observers, as people who are living in this timeline, we're there now. That you're definitely, you know, those tribal lines have been absolutely drawn, and things like this, even though they don't feel like too much of a stretch that they could happen to this person, it's like, oh yeah, this is another reason why X, Y, and Z is bad. You know, and it's
dude,
like,
completely
not
just
really, man, not this kid, not this way.
Like
anyway.
yeah, some of the time, absolutely. This time, I think she's just a jerky time cop, man. There was a show that was in the 80s that I watched when I was I watched the 90s reruns when I was a wee boy. It was called Night Court, And,
sure.
And there was a real badass
Love that show.
lady guard. I think her name was Roz. She was the sassy black no nonsense guard.
Yeah.
And like that's people who were a little older were like, this is who that reminds me of, like kind of like a Roz.
Yep.
Like, but like that's the level.
Yeah.
That's the level of like it's like, and then but then he's like, and then it continues. Right when he's in the TVA, immediately we were seeing him talked down to by the judge, and the judge is also a woman of color, and then he talks about the frat guy, like the Chad type, who's like, my dad runs a Fortune 500 company. And then he gets he's the red shirt dude. He's the guy, like we all knew, anybody who knew.
Do you understand
anything,
what he is as a storytelling mechanism?
Dude,
He gets to show the audience what happens when you talk back to these guys.
Exactly.
It has very little to do with what do you call it, with the color of his skin or blah blah blah. It's got nothing to do with that. He's the example that you want to show to the audience. These guys just phase people out with those batons.
Yeah, so when Loki starts immediately doing what we do when we're looking for a train pass or something, we just starts patting him down to make sure he grabbed the fucking ticket.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's
and
a great bit. It's a great bit.
I'm like, dude, again, now that I'm reciting all his perceived foibles with the show, I'm actually feeling a little bad for Overlord DVD, whose content I usually create, because I think he's just been conditioned so often by modern day media that like you see the enemy everywhere now. He's got PTSD.
Right. He's just as bad as the people that he points at. You know.
Yeah, man. I don't know, Bill. Listen, man, you're pretty anti-woke Bale. Did you pick up on any of that stuff, man?
At first I thought I was like, wait, is this that thing? And then a few months passed by, like with the get a ticket thing, with the judge talking down to him. Like, no, it's just they've decided to put only people of color in this court or TV or whatever to separate them visually.
Yes.
But I didn't see it as like woke POC woman talking down, like, oh, the judges talk down to you. Have you not seen them?
Yeah. No. Have you ever seen it? Yeah. Have you ever actually fucking dealt with a judge?
Yeah. I have other issues, and that judge scene, the Owen Wilson character just telling the judge, oh, it's very appropriate that you're talking out to me. I was like, okay, that's fucking cringe. That's cringe, bro.
I thought that was Owen Wilson just being a cutie poo.
It could be, but
that line to me that line felt ad-libbed. Like that totally, which is, by the way, Owen Wilson, that's totally his thing, man. That dude loves to ad-lib.
That could be. That could be it.
The other thing that was critiqued was how weak Loki is, but I feel like it fits. Like this whole episode is to show you that the TVA is so powerful that they use Infinity Stones, which again, Overlord DVD, this is a different issue. He says that Kevin Feige is spitting in the face of the first phase of the Marvel movies by downplaying the Infinity Stones like this at the TVA. And as a comic book nerd, I couldn't say that he couldn't be. I hate to be the comic book nerd guy, but you couldn't be more fucking wrong, dude. Dude, the TVA exists in its own temporal bubble and has its own rules to protect it from these things. And also, by the way, dude, did you never read fucking Fantastic Four, dude? Do you not know about the Council of Reeds? Do you not know how the fucking Infinity Stones work when you in a fucking different timeline, dude? They don't work in other timelines. Oh, sorry. If you don't know this,
I love it. Can you hear the fucking mic getting into it, man? But here's the thing. I can see where he's coming from, right? Because without that knowledge, Mike, without knowing anything, the behind the scenes that you just said, right? Yeah. All you have an understanding from the Infinity Stones is what happened in Infinity War and Endgame, right? So what they've introduced in that is you have 5 of these, 10 of these things, 5 of them? Okay, 5 of these things in a row, you can pretty much conquer the entire universe, right?
6, I think.
So I understand where he's coming from in like, oh, you've just diminished what you have set up in the last big sort of payoff movie that you had. And now you're just kind of saying that it's nothing, right? I understand the sentiment, even though, without context, right? Without what you're talking about. And I'm kind of in a way in the same boat where it's like, I wish there was a way we could have explained that a little bit better in which it doesn't diminish how powerful these things are until we give you enough rope to have an understanding of what these things, if it's really important to, if it's really in line to what you're talking about, right? So I kind of agree with him there.
So all right, I see that. I see that to somebody that doesn't know. To somebody that doesn't know comics, that's a fair point. But Bale, go on. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I don't know about the Marvel comics. When I saw that moment with the Infinity Stones, I had to have a little practice do with myself, and I had to take both sides. First side is like, oh no, they're diminishing their struggles, and I could see why someone would see that because it's kind of presented to us in that way. And I do agree with Master Crane that there should have been a better way to say it. And then the other hand is like, oh, they're using that as an element to show you how infantile in power
there
our
it is.
universe is
That
compared
bingo.
to the TVA.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's it. Then.
You could leverage that conversation there for sure. I mean, it's even in the dialogue in which they say like, oh yeah, we have a bunch of those laying around here. You know, blah 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 has one.
Yeah.
You know, that department over there has one. It's like,
But that's
okay,
the
I
moment.
get it. But it also, yeah, the intent makes sense for the dialogue of the scene and to have an understanding of what it ultimately speaks to in regards to this department, right, or this organization.
Yeah.
But the accidental thing that it does is, I think, what the criticism against it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, so
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I don't know if there was a good way to do that. You know, like I think they had to be really.
Theoretically,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
there should have been a way to present the power of the TVA without accidentally putting down the Infinity
There it
Stones.
is.
Because I
And that
think
would have been-
that's what happened.
Yeah, and you just literally asked her right now, Mike. It's like I don't know if there could have been a way to do that. If there's a way to not have to help amplify how cool these guys are, right? How powerful they are, how sort of like borderline omnipotent they are as an organization.
Yes.
Without diminishing the other thing, right? Because you know how important it was. There was two
Right.
movies worth about it. I think you should have gone down that path. That was my only point. That would be my counter argument.
That's listen, I can't argue with that, right? They did shit on the power of the Infinity Stones to prove the point, right? Which needed to be proved in order to kind of break Loki's spirit, because that is the moment that's the singular moment, right? Loki's doing his tricks, he's gonna get his powerful trinket, yada yada yada. It's in a desk drawer of a clerk in a filing, like not even in a filing cabinet. It's not locked, it's just open, and it's in a junk drawer. Right? So like they really shit all over the Infinity Stones. But it's at that moment, Loki, you see the realization in Tom Hiddleston's face where it's like, oh my God, this thing where I'm from, people fucking fight and die, and this is a fucking Infinity Stone. This is a part of the foundation of the universe. This fucking is it's as useless as a extra set of car keys. It's as well, it's
a fucking rocket, dude.
It's the extra set of chopsticks you get from the takeout order. It's the
right.
And that's
to that end, they landed it right. To that end, they were like, "Oh, you get it." Right?
Yeah.
This
now
doesn't mean anything to these guys.
Yes. Now you get how these guys fit, and I feel like again, perhaps it could have been better, but for that, it makes sense and it reached for the character and his reaction to that. Which you then see him forlorn and then watching. Oh, by the way, I think they pulled that off beautifully. And again, it's super exposition-y. But him watching him, I got a little misty-eyed. Him watching his life unfold on that device. This
is very on brand for you. Like the actual movie that would probably make 98% of the populace cry. You're like, this is so stupid. But somebody in a superhero movie gets hurt, and you're like, I'm getting teary-eyed.
Yeah, now I'm getting misty-eyed, man.
I love it though.
Yeah. When Odin dies, Odin dies, I get misty-eyed. When like an actual human being is crying, I'm like, dude, come on, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, knock it off. We're all meant to die. You know, with this fictional character, it hits me deep, is what you're getting.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know if you know.
Superhero, the Escape Crusader.
Dude, I'm not gonna. All right, I watched the Netflix like comedy docu one-man show, Bo Burnham's Inside. I don't know if you guys watched that. It was really good, but there's a moment where he just starts breaking down and crying. He goes like, he looks at the camera, he's like, I'm not okay, and then he just starts weeping in his hands. I started bursting out laughing so hard during that scene.
You are definitely a broken individual.
It was by far the hardest. I laughed during that whole special. I just
there's a switch that's flipped inside of you that can't be flipped back the other way, man. You're a broken person, but I'm still your friend no matter what.
Listen, I love you guys. But yeah, I'm excited. All right, for the rest of the season, how are you guys thinking? Are you excited? Are you in?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, from my perspective, what else is on TV right now, or what else is worth watching right now? Right, like,
Also true.
you present me with something better to, what do you call it? Better to view. I'm on board. But between now and I don't know when the entire world opens back up, and when Hollywood starts opening the door to make good quality television, for the time being, this is what I'm stuck with. So I guess I'll watch it. But it's not something where I'm like, dude, I can't remember the last time that I was like, episodically, I need to go watch that. You know, may have been Lost, may have been Game of Thrones. Back when it was good. Right, like the thing where I'm like, I gotta keep coming back and watch that week after week. You know,
I am, after this first episode, way more invested than I was during the first episodes of the other two shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision.
Okay. That's fair.
But I think it might, honestly, it might be my own bias towards one, Tom Hiddleston, and two, just again, high concept sci-fi. The show is run by one of the creators over Rick and Morty, not the big two, not Dan Harmon and not Justin Roiland, but like their former showrunner. So I'm excited, man. Let me catch up with the chat.
What about you, Bill?
Oh, oops. Oops, apologies, Bill.
Yeah, you see Loki's face in that article you have. That's how I feel about the series. I'm very cautious. I don't like how much they deconstructed him.
This is why you don't ask Bale, because you're like, he's not on. We don't need this. Like, you know.
No. We
voices.
need Bale. We need somebody to say no.
We don't need.
We're all saying yeah. We're all saying yeah. Bale's saying no. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying no. I'm saying I'm super cautious about it, because we've had our hearts broken very badly by one where we were super excited, and then they shat on everything in the ending. So I hope they don't deconstruct them further and it just turns into like sci-fi time travel adventure. If it turns into that, then I'm all on board to enjoy it.
Now again, that weirdly you bring this up. That was another Overlord DVD critique. Was that he hates that they did any kind of like psych work on Loki, right? The fact that like Loki confesses, essentially they have to speed run this Loki to our dead Loki, right? They kind of had to like a quick, like, we need to get you to Ragnarok and Endgame from Avengers in like an hour. So we're gonna show you, and I think it's a speed run. But I think at the end he gets to a pretty close place, right? He stops the facade. The facade breaks because of looking at all the horrible things that endured, or earning the respect and love of his father, who then passes. Right? That is a fucking, like, he's getting the Cliff's Notes versions of some of the things that his alternate universe self did. You know, finally become a brother to Thor.
I agree.
Go on.
I agree in a way, but you're watching it's not like the living, like, he didn't live through that.
No,
you know?
He didn't.
That's why I think, you know, the Loki, as we come to understand him much later after Ragnarok, he kind of he's even more developed, right?
Yes.
But it's like watching a TV show of yourself and not having sat there next to your dad turning into, like, you know, Nordic space dust or whatever the fuck, right? It's like,
he's getting a watered down version.
If that would have been, he's just watching the footage, right? And nothing led into that space. You know what I mean? For him to have an appreciation of exactly what it meant for his father to die. But I don't know. I'm kind of, there's a lot of reading between the lines that you kind of have to do. It's like, oh, I guess that's impactful to him because his mom died, his dad died, and blah, blah, blah. He dies, right? Like, he sees his own death, and what does it all fucking mean? And, you know, he might be having an existential crisis of, like, you know, all of this, you know, and I end up dying anyway. You know, it could have been that. Yeah,
I'm eager to see where it goes, because I think it would be all too easy to be like, and we got our Loki back, right? Like, I think because those aren't his lived experiences, but they're yet experience that he's sort of lived now, like, or at least realized that could have happened. I think we're getting a hybrid. I think we're getting a hybrid of Avengers Loki, just the villain, right? So not quite the heroic, fully redeemed, you know, I'm going to sacrifice my life for my people and my brother. I think we're going to get a hybrid between the two, personally. And I think that's where, you know, it's like he's still going to be a mischievous little scamp, like he says. And Yeah, man, I'm excited. But also, Overlord DVD kept calling him a villain, which I feel like it's too it's too to call Loki a villain is it's like to call Deadpool a villain, right? There's so much more. The character is so much more nuanced, right?
It's inaccurate, you know.
Yeah, he was never, even when he was working. Listen, the character of Loki is one of the few characters that have actually been, their motivations have been fleshed out. And as you watch the character grow, you realize that he's not the Ultron. He's not Ronan the Accuser. He's not just after power. He's just a flawed, fucked up guy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely self-serving.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
his villainous, he's definitely not, he doesn't transcend. He's not altruistic by any means. No. Right? But he does, he as a self-serving guy, he ends up doing heroic things, you know?
Yes. Yeah, so way more nuanced than just a villain. Yeah. But I think, that's it. Let's move on to. Hang on. Before I move on, I actually want to catch up with the chat because I see you guys have been talking. I see you guys been talking about this, and you got your own feelings. I see Frankie's in here, Praetor, Pinky, Coffee. What's up, cuties? Coffee loved it. Frankie says, I honestly don't think it was slow. I felt we finally got really well set out after one. I agree, Frankie. I think they laid down some pretty awesome foundation. So that now I think that now that the exposition and the heavy lifting has been done, I think they can now feel free to really have some fun. The Fit interview some bit was a huge moment. Ragnarok was fire. I felt Ragnarok was like a moment of fresh air. He says gods, but this interpretation, they're nothing more than powerful aliens with more powerful aliens and even stuff that he is unaware of. You're just wokeness. It's been comic book canon that there are more powerful beings than Asgardians and the Eternals. It's not woke at all, says Porg. He even outsmarted the guard oh, that's right. Yeah. If it was wokeness, then Loki never would have been able to, kind of beat the shit out of her and use her own time device against her to really fuck with her. Which I thought was very petty and it felt Loki. And then he didn't eviscerate her. He didn't murder her. He could have murdered her, I'm sure. But I think they wanted to show that he doesn't just kill and maim. He's not the Joker. He doesn't kill and maim people and poison people for shits and giggles because that's what gets him off. I just watched a show that I was enjoying. Anyone that breaks it down for ethnic or political shit really should go outside of their house and go take a long fucking walk. Exactly. It was Owen being Owen and it was awesome as hell. Too funny. Something more powerful than other things in comic books. Wow, that's a surprise. I think they meant to give perspective into what other powerful things exist. It's just a way to cement this as a totally different phase, as well as how many more powerful forces in the Marvel universe has. Agreed. I loved it. It was hilarious. Also, Loki needed that because the multiverse is the main thing across multiple films moving forward, so it's not the focus as much, the TVA. It's the same logic as Thanos beating up Hulk at the beginning of Endgame. People didn't cry saying, but we thought Hulk was strong. It's the same use of known powerful elements to show how powerful the other element is. Yes. What I really liked, he didn't get to see what happens. Thanos, all he sees is that Thanos killed him and destroyed the ship. That's right. That's an interesting point Frankie brings up. Loki never saw what would become of Thor and everyone else. But that's probably for a reason, right? Because hypothetically in the TVA, we would be able to see everything that happens after that. Something that interests me is them saying that there is no multiverse while we know there will be one. The Loki update was quite smart. He did in a few moments. We saw him realize thanks to Tom's acting. And yes, it does. Yes, it does. And it's a show. Yes, in real life, it wouldn't be the same. But the goal is achieved in the way that we want to here. Like in the comics, Loki, Agent of Asgard, it's all him trying to be a good guy. Awesome. Awesome. Bill, you falling asleep, buddy?
Up here? Why? Why are you asking if I'm falling asleep? Because I'm nodding?
No, you know what it is? Because your anime eyes are closing, and I could never tell if your anime eyes are closing because your eyes are closed.
Anime eyes are closed, dude.
No, it's because I'm reading chat.
Oh, Oh, I see.
And sometimes when I look
You
down,
look down
the
and read the
model,
chat. The model. I
yeah,
thought Bale was snoozing. Frankie,
I was snoozing during like half of Loki, but
how
that's
dare
another
you?
topic.
This is outrageous. Frankie says, "Did you see the possible Peggy Carter Easter egg?" I did not. Did you? Did you guys catch that? I wasn't looking at. Admittedly, this time I wasn't looking for Easter eggs.
Carter Easter? No.
No.
I'd have to watch it another 3 or 4 times.
Frankie, tell us, man. I want to know. Also,
I saw some YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah. What's that? What's the thumbnail?
I saw some YouTube thumbnail that they found 77 Easter eggs in this first episode.
I wonder.
Really? To Stanley. 77.
That's so fucking many.
What is going on with that guy's life?
I mean, yeah, that's just the thumbnail though. I didn't peruse through it, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yo, how many of you guys in the chat have seen the Masters of the Universe trailer? Because that's the next thing I want to touch on. Because I saw it.
Let's do it.
And I loved it. Oh yeah,
I watched it once and I turned off the volume because I'm like, this is so fucking try hard. It's gross.
So when Loki teleports about,
are you trying to say you don't need a hero?
I do not. I'm bringing it up again. Let's go.
All right. Wait. When Loki teleports about, he goes into a corridor where a portal opens and a woman being dragged away by the TVA looks like Peggy. You don't have to rewatch that because that would be really fucking cool. But all right, let's move on to Oh, hey, wait. Oh, real quick, I forgot about this. Did any of you guys bother? Were any of you guys bothered that it says that Loki's his sex is fluid on the thing? Because some people got it bent out of shape, and it's like, well, it's canon.
Well, again, it's the thing is, in the current climate that we're having to deal with, right?
Yeah.
In no other time in history does somebody leverage that term, my gender is fluid, unless you're opting to weaponize it. You know what I mean?
Right.
One way or the other, right? You could have just said 100 different things, but instead you're going to say something like that. And you know how people are going to react.
Yes.
But you do it anyway because you want that reaction out of people.
Yeah.
So unless you were really trying to be as close to the source material as possible, you could have found half a dozen ways to say whatever the heck that you're trying to get across with that, but you don't do that because you're trying to do this, and that's the part that annoys the hell out of me.
They did this very intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. It is. By the way, it is comics accurate, but also let's not forget that it is Disney, and they want the pat on the back. You know, they want to turn this into something more than what it is, which is Loki's a trickster, shape-shifting god. But like I said, I'm pretty sure the guess is that Lady Loki is going to be the antagonist of the series. Or
here's the most important question: how hot do you think Lady Loki will be?
She better be hot. Oh, you know what? Actually, there was he came out on stage with an actress once when the show was coming up, and I don't know her name. And fuck it, I'm Lady Loki actress. Let's look it up. Let's see how hot she is or isn't. New first look.
You're assuming that this is actually going to happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Did Marvel just confirm Lady Loki? I don't know. It might be this woman. It might be this. You know what? Tom Hiddleston, Sophia DiMarro, and Owen Wilson. So Sophia DiMartino. She's not bad looking. She's kind of a, Kennedy. She might be your type.
What does that mean?
She looks like
How do you spell her name?
She's got a, here, I'll show you, here. The photo's up on screen. She looks like a Disney princess that
Hey, what a cutie.
Yeah, she might have some secrets. Yeah, she could get it. Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. I can see it. I'm down. The fluid thing is certainly because the Loki they're pursuing might be female Loki. Lady Loki is going to make me lose my mind. One interesting thing to know about the video presentation of the TVA in Loki is that in a little It's written the Variance Authority Narrative Commission, so it could all just be propaganda. Oh, I see. See, when I saw that narrative thing, I thought they were making a spoof on like Kevin Feige is kind of like the TVA, whereas like he's the head in charge of narrative, right? But who knows where it is? Yeah.
Time you try to take this castle.
I'm just gonna leave that there because if I play any fucking more of it, YouTube will slap the shit out of my video. Dude, look at the fucking look at the thumbnail for the Mag Negro is the thumbnail from just some guy.
I fucking love just some guy.
Yeah.
That
you know that story, right? We could get into that later.
Yes, let's get into let's take a hint and let's get into that right after we talk about the Masters of the Universe trailer. Now, Eric, you said you worked on one in the early 2000s, reboot of the series.
Yeah, the reboot that happened in 2000, 2002, so that's easily almost 2 decades ago. Jeez Louise, I feel old. But there's nothing in here that makes me go like, oh, that's so stylistically bold. It's just, I just rung up just to refresh my memory of what the stuff that we worked on looked like.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like this, but era appropriate. You know what I mean? The level of drawing, the screen ratio is even just appropriate for back then. It wasn't quite widescreen yet. There were CG elements that were in there, like the stylistic stuff that they're doing in this trailer for Masters of the Universe. I'm like, yeah, it's just updated. It's cleaner. It's, the lines are prettier, but it's not like it's any, ooh, that's really awesome. I've never seen that before,
Yes.
I don't know, but then again, keep in mind, I said this, that stuff was 2 decades ago. So this is going to be good for somebody. Somebody's going to look at this and be like, that's awesome. I want to watch that, right? But I want us to be aware that nowhere when the logo goes up, does it say He-Man. It just says Masters of the Universe.
Oh shit! Wait.
Okay, so people ain't gonna be happy if the theories prove correct.
At what part of the? Oh shit! Masters of the Universe Revelation. Oh fuck! Yo, you're right, dude. Yeah. You're right. They're not calling it He-Man.
It's not a He-Man show. It says it right on the tin. So technically, it's not a bait and switch.
All right. So here is the whole cons, dude. So the whole kerfuffle about this He-Man's the Masters of the Universe. By the way, I do think it looks really fucking cool.
It's okay.
Again, Bale. Let me guess. Bale doesn't like the animation because blah, 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 it's not good enough. Shut up, Bale.
Nobody gives a shit. Invincible.
I like it. I think the animation looks dope. Anyway, the big hubbub was Kevin Smith was called out by some YouTubers who said they got their hands on a script leak, and the entire series, what we're seeing in the trailer is just a taste of like episode 1 and 2, where you see He-Man doing his thing. You see this buff fucking you see He-Man.
You're gonna blow my eardrums, boy.
You see He-Man doing his thing, like you'd imagine the whole cartoon would be. But they're saying this is just, you're watching like episode 1. And in episode 1, again, these are all alleged spoilers, but it seems like more and more every day that these might be confirmed, that He-Man and Skeletor are going to have an all-out brawl, a final battle of sorts, and then who the fuck knows? Something goes wrong. They're thinking Skeletor gets the Sword of Power, and Prince Adam, He-Man is disappeared. It's kind of like Luke Skywalker. He becomes the MacGuffin, and then it becomes the Teela story, Teela and friends. And Teela now has to set, I guess, Eternity, I believe. Is that what they're? Eric, is that where they're from? Is that the Eternia? So they have to fix Eternity because it's gonna blow up or die or whatever the fuck, right? It's your standard, like, the clock is ticking. We have to go get this MacGuffin, which is, I'm assuming, He-Man. But like, that's the show. The show isn't He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's Teela and the Masters of the Universe, and that's That's what Kevin Smith was called out about on Twitter. And then he absolutely refuted the claims. He said, this is not the case. You guys are fucking wrong. I'm the showrunner. I've read every script. I've even written a few scripts. That's not what happens. This isn't the Tila show. But,
Very good.
But, Bale, do you have that article link? Bale, do you have that article link where they did a little synopsis of it?
No, I don't, and I'll bring it up. Give me a second.
Oh,
And
and
I dropped in Sled Gang the two opening cards that show deliberately when you have a He-Man show, you say it, you know?
yes. Let me pull that up.
Even the Filmation one, it says He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, you know?
Oh yeah, and even the old one as well. Let me pull up the old one. All three.
Yeah.
So here, guys, all three screenshots. Here is the original He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Here is the one from the 2000s, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And here is the newest one. Now you might notice there's a little something different in the title there. Little something missing. It's the He-Man.
The
I'll
He-Man part.
I'll give you a hint. It's the He-Man part. Is nowhere to be seen.
Right.
Which, I mean, I think that just about fucking sums it up. You know, if it's a He-Man show.
Well, that perfectly captures where people are a little bit nervous about the whole thing. Again, wait until it comes out. Who knows how it'll eventually play itself out. But first, if the people are calling him out, and that's the part that makes me a little bit nervous, right? If at first they found these scripts that have leaked, and it's clear based on if these are legitimate, and it's clear that it's not going to be He-Man show. It's He-Man, and he gets thrown somehow into the blah blah blah, and now it's going to be the ticking clock that they need to go find him, and it becomes a Tila show. And Kevin Smith has publicly said it's not that at all. Then he just fucking, you know, he might as well just say, you know, an attack on me is an attack on He-Man. You know, he might as well just Fauci his way through
Right.
the fucking trust issues that he's gonna have to deal with moving forward. You know,
Yeah. No, it's
nobody's gonna trust him, basically, right? Nobody's gonna take his word for it. You don't say that to a bunch of different people. If it
So
isn't
like
true.
people trusted him a bunch to begin with all the crying he's been doing in the recent years over literally anything.
he does. I'll be honest. Listen, man, I'm a person who listen. You're talking to a dude who tears up over Marvel shit and DC stuff, dude.
Hey, I'll be right back.
It's enough to turn Eric away. I do that shit. Is it embarrassing? Absolutely. But listen, what are you gonna do, right? So I get it, but Kevin Smith cries, like he'll cry during an episode of the fucking Flash CW TV show or like fucking Legends of Tomorrow.
But
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
The uncontrollably sob over
That's right.
anything or every episode you watch and then post it on fucking social media.
All right. So when I say like I teared up during the first episode of Loki, like I mean like yeah, my eyes got a little juicy. I didn't have tears running down my face. Kevin Smith is like openly like wet sobbing, like just tears streaming down his face, not coming out of his fucking nose. Like what? He's watching an episode of the fucking television show The Flash, and he's a fucking mess. You would have thought he lost his loved one. You would have thought he lost like a wife or a child or something. The way he's fucking bawling. Nah, dude, he's watching an episode of the CW Flash. How dare you?
Yeah. And it's not even like the beginning Flash where like he's not rewatching the first 2.5 seasons of Arrow and reminiscing over how good it was versus how dog shit it is now. No, it's just a random this week's Flash and he's bawling his ass out like, nah, dude, like lay off the fucking sock.
I loved He-Man. He was strong, a gentleman. He cared about his people and his land. And an interpretation can't have that anymore at this day and age.
An inspiration, not interpretation. Let the fucking read.
Uh,
But it seems like people just don't want to give positive masculine examples.
Is that what it is?
Like, it could be one of the things. I don't think. I hope it's not intentional and conscious. I hope it's just, it's a byproduct, an accident. Because if it is a conscious thought of, hey, we can't give any more toxic masculinity into the world, whatever argument they'd use, we can't give boys a positive example, then we're in a dystopia already. Because if you don't give boys good examples, then they become male feminists, and we don't know
After
what those
a
people do.
cataclysmic battle between He-Man and Skeletor, Mark Hamill, Eternia is fractured and the Guardians of Grayskull are scattered. Reads the official synopsis. And after decades of secrets tore them apart, it's up to Teela, Sarah Michelle Gellar, to reunite the broken band of heroes and solve the mystery of the Sword of Power in a race against time to restore Eternia and prevent the end of the universe.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I just had another idea about what's gonna happen. Tila's going to
So
be
this
the new
is
sword wielder, and
Yeah.
Tila's going to become She-Man.
She-Man. It's it's ma'am. She-Man.
Basically, dude, I love me a hot redhead kicking ass, but not like this. Come on, this is throwing you pity food. Like, if you want to make a Tila show, just give her her own show, and not like this.
Not like this. Yeah, no, this is shit.
I know
Dude, if this is the case, this is...
It's fair.
Yeah, man, come on, man. You're going to have a Masters of the Universe show.
It wouldn't not have He-Man.
Just make She-Ra the show, then. Oh, wait, you already did it, and it fucking sucked. And the animation was garbage. Now, that animation, I will say, looked like fucking garbage. But, yes. It's looking bad, guys. If you were looking for He-Man in the Masters of the Universe, and you were looking for it to be done in like a similar Castlevania-esque-ish style on Netflix, I believe you're going to be disappointed.
You're gonna blow my eardrums.
I don't hear it that loud, man. I don't know why it's playing that loud on I don't know why it's not playing that loud on YouTube or on Discord.
It could be on my end.
Uh,
But yeah, when I saw He-Man being this jacked, I was like, okay. I was actually surprised he was this jacked. I was expecting him to be muscular because, that would be a travesty if he wasn't. But him being peak form Arnold was not expected.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Dude, you know what? To go back to Loki, Coffee said that this white woman with brunette hair would have been a sexier version of Loki.
Sure.
Oh, dude, she had kids, dude. Ugh, fucking disgusting, man. Oh god, dude, she was in the Maze Runner. I know, I just saw a photo of her holding a baby. Fucking gross.
Yo, did you change your lights?
No, why? Oh, it is looking a little bit more yellowy, right?
Yeah, you look more yellowy or more browny.
Yeah.
Is it because the sunlight is finally hitting your studio?
I don't know what's causing that, to be honest. I really didn't change the lights or anything. You know what? The only lights that are different are the ones behind me.
Now.
The actress of Yennefer. Look her up. Dude, I'll be honest, I don't find the woman who plays Yennefer attractive, man.
Fuck no. Especially when you compare her even to cosplayers. Not
yeah, but alright, dude, fuck
This
cosplayers, man. The only thing you compare it to is the fucking video game character. But again, I think her nose is too fucking big, man. But yes, if you're gonna compare her to the video game character, I think the video game character is hotter than fucking.
Oh, of course she fucking, because she's faithful to the fucking thing, to the source material.
Yeah, no, dude, her face is busted, dude. Look at that fucking schnoz, man. She's got big bug eyes, a big old schnoz, and she's got I don't know, man. I don't like her lips or her butt chin. I do not find this woman attractive at all. Really not. I don't know, man. She looks like a gypsy or something, dude. It just fucking doesn't. She looks like a witch, man. I guess she is a witch, but like she looks like one. I like that other white girl that you mentioned though.
She looks like the bad kind of witch.
Yeah, she looks like the kind of witch that's gonna curse you.
Not the sexy kind.
Yeah. She looks like the kind of witch that might eat children. That kind of witch.
Yeah, the casting in The Witcher is fucking horrendous. Like, the only reason I watched The Witcher was because of that one Henry Cavill interview where he defended gamers. I was like, you know what? Gamers have accepted him as their king. So, out of respect for that one gamer, I'm gonna watch his fucking show.
Yeah, you know, I am with you. I think this white woman could be Loki though, Lady Loki. The white woman on the left here. This one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see her.
It looks like she's had children, which is fucking disgusting, dude. Like just fucking
Having children.
Having children. Oh my god, dude. Ugh.
Oh, dude.
Oh my
this
God.
photo in the black top, dude. I can see her being lucky, and I can see her getting it. No wonder she has children. Someone couldn't hold it.
I might throw up. Oh. Oh.
Anyway, yeah, no. What are you gonna do? The Hispanic woman to the right on Ant-Man is your new Red Sonja. I thought she was half black. You're talking about now her I think is super hot, dude. The villain from Ant-Man, Hannah something or other.
She is cute, but I don't think she's Red Sonja.
I'm assuming they're just gonna put her in a fucking red wig, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but you have to have the physique for the same thing with Conan. You can't be a fucking twig and play Conan. You gotta look like Jason Momoa.
All right, well, you heard Bale. He wants a woman that looks like Jason Momoa to play Red Sonja. I think it's bad casting, and they will probably change the costume, though. Hannah Dean Kamen or something like that. Yeah, something like that. She's fucking sexy, though, that one. The Jason Momoa Conan sucked. Well, at least he looked like Conan, though.
Oh, the movie sucked, did it? But the casting was okay. I think Jason Momoa can do Conan. He's just big tough guy with a sword.
Yeah, it was just, it wasn't Jason Momoa's look that sucked the life out of it. Yeah, no, so listen, here we gotta show this one thing before we stop talking about He-Man. This is what Kevin Smith posted about 10, 11 years ago. I wasn't a He-Man fan, but so-and-so is running a new Masters Universe show. Go look. Yeah, dude, so this motherfucker, he cried and swore up and down. He's a fucking He-Man fan. He's a huge He-Man nerd. He's fucking not. He's not even a little bit.
The internet doesn't forget.
The internet doesn't forget, dude.
The internet remembers.
Yeah, no, you don't get to fucking, yeah.
Lie through your teeth and people not find out, because people
Dude, I loved Killjoy's hockey. Dude, she was so fucking hot in Killjoys, dude. Oh, sorry. It's an obscure sci-fi show that I felt like I was the only one that watched. That's how I found her, dude. I was following her on Instagram, like way before she was in the MCU or any of that stuff, cause she was so fine. Yeah, I love me some, Oreo ladies. Anyway, it might just be me, says Yoji. It might just be me, but I think Kevin Smith has lost all credibility a long time ago. He hasn't done a decent movie in a long while. Also, being a comic book superfan doesn't necessarily make him qualified to be a showrunner for He-Man.
Yeah. Just because you're Superman doesn't mean you're a decent content producer on any side.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking shame. Should we talk about Magneto? Should we talk about? I don't
know how long Master Kenny will be AFK, so.
I don't know. I'm right. I'm right. So you guys move. Like, I'm actually need to excuse myself. I just wanted to come back and say thank you for having me on.
Oh, of course.
Anytime.
Thanks, kids. You guys are awesome. What the fuck? How is that sword in the back of his? No, that's so stupid. All right. I just saw the thumbnail on the screen. I'm like, that's so dumb.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't it be cutting up his back like that?
There? Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would.
Yeah.
Unless, but he's He-Man, you know.
He's He-Man.
He's Kevin Smith's He-Man. All right, kids. Have a good one. Thank you.
Later, buddy.
Bye.
Later.
Yeah, no, dude. I'll be honest. I think Kevin Smith is a bullshit artist, and I don't trust him. I think he's a super fan, and it's all. But I think it's performance art. I think that's as far as it goes. I think Kevin Smith used to be cool back in the '90s, back when he was like an indie dude.
Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob, freaking What were those two black and white? The
Chasing
first one was
Amy.
black and white.
Dude, he had a bunch of
Oh,
fucking.
I loved that one.
Yeah, dude, no.
I loved Chasing
No,
Amy
there was
so
a moment
much.
where Kevin Smith was a dude that we all could have been fucking cool with. Now he's an old bitch.
Clerks was the name.
He's an old
I
bitch
remember the Clerks.
who cries over CW shows, for the performance of it, so he could suck that corporate schlong, and tell us how much he loves the new Star Wars films. Rest in peace, Kevin Smith.
When I get a girlfriend, I'm gonna send her to Kevin Smith to teach her how to suck dick.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about Magnegro. Let's see if I can find that.
Fucking just some guy's hilarious. He doesn't use the N word that often, but when he does it, it's so fucking, it's so on point. It just cracks me up.
This is how many progressives write characters. They're basically villains. We've seen this with the Batwoman TV show. We've seen this with WandaVision. I've got numerous reviews of comics where the people we're supposed to be rooting for are terrible people. So what happens when one of them writes a villain? Well, if that villain's a straight white man, they're written as evil because straight white men are inherently evil. Duh. But if the villain is not a straight white man, then SJW see that villain as a hero. Not an anti-hero, not even an anti-villain, but literally a hero. Someone who's doing the right thing no matter what. We saw
Yeah. Oh, let me finish that point.
Macho Man Abby Savage, and most recently in Falcon and Winter Soldier, with the terrorist Carly being presented as doing the right thing by murdering people. The reason we see this is because these people, these SJW writers, are projecting their views into the characters.
There you go. That's more or less the synopsis of it.
That's the self-insert of the fucking decade. Like, how long has it been since we've been seeing this in specifically comics, not just entertainment, but specifically comics? It's been plaguing comics for like years, and people wonder why. Oh, dude, speaking of comics, did you see that ICV2 had to put out their own category so they don't get so that they don't have to feel as bad for American comics?
No, I didn't see that. Where the hell is the tweet? Let me see. I'll find it. I want to find the Twitter. I want to find the Twitter thread.
I think he shows it.
That sparked all this off. This whole conversation. For those of you who missed it. There was a bit of a kerfuffle on Twitter this week, and somebody proposed something pretty ridiculous, and I guess they proposed Magnegro as a comic book character. Where the fuck? There we go. Here, I found it. Got it. Here's the link. When mutants are introduced to the MC, also, who the fuck is this douchebag? Also, don't bother anybody.
Yeah, please don't contact anyone. Let them be retarded in their own safe space.
Creator by host of I don't know who the fuck this dude is, dude. It sounds like I think he's just a podcaster, I guess. I'm guessing he's just a podcaster. Anyway, this very smart person a couple days ago writes, when mutants are introduced to the MCU, I want Magneto to be African American, and his motivation all stems from everything we've had to endure being black in America. Tell that story, Marvel. And then he absolutely got fucking destroyed in the ratio. Killmonger.
Of course he did.
You're thinking of Killmonger from Black Panther. As a Jew who only has one major representation in Marvel of the Holocaust and its toll on humanity, I humbly disagree. And then he says something stupid. He can go fuck himself because his opinion's dumb. And then somebody posted this, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Jason Statham is black. I would actually go and pay money to see that fucking movie. Even if it's like a comedy parody thing.
Yes. Yeah, how do we get somebody to fucking deepfake Jason Statham's face on a Black Panther? Yeah, no,
let's fund that. Come on, crowdfunding.
Yeah, no, it's just anyway, you get the idea. I hate it. I hate the idea. I think it's really stupid.
It's such a shiny, smooth brain take that. Why would you want another? Let's say his view of the black experience in America is like just misery as a whole. Like, why would you want to sit through a 2-hour movie that talks about misery just so you can feel emotionally validated? Like, oh yeah, misery, slaves. I'm only 35, but you know slavery, my dude. Fuck off. I hate that so much. Like, oh, just whatever misery I went through, I want you to put that in the movie so everyone else could also be miserable alongside with me. Like, haven't we had enough misery just this one past year, let alone the past like 10? Just let people go and get entertained and have fun and forget about their troubles for like 2 hours.
All right, what's the let's see, what else? Besides that, we have oh, they think they casted Namor for Black Panther 2, but who cares? Oh, Jensen Ackles. Jensen Ackles is now a Soldier Boy in The Boys. We got some first photos of that.
I barely recognize him.
He's looking good. Also, he got giant, dude. He started working out like fucking crazy, man.
I think it's the hair, because you know because I know him as fucking Dean. His name will always be Dean Winchester, and he has short hair there. So
yes.
When I saw him with this long hair, like, wait, isn't that Jared?
Jensen, how dare you? Yeah, no, man. There was another. Here it is. Look here. Oh my god, man! Fucking Instagram. Come on, dude. Instagram's being a dick. There we go. Here, this is him. This is him. Fucking curling. He's curling 40s.
Makes my eyes bleed.
It makes what?
It makes my eyes bleed because this technique is dog shit. But you know, get thick.
What do you know, man?
By whatever means.
You're not even half his size. He's getting big though.
I like the self-deprecating comedy of like, oh, it's not as easy as just wearing flannel or whatever he said.
Yes.
Yeah, I think watching Supernatural as a kid make me like flannel, and I have like multiple flannel shirts.
Nice. Oh, last thing. How could I forget? Resident Evil Netflix live action series Lance Riddick as Albert Wesker. So they did another race swap. Some more blackwashing of characters. I don't personally care because Wesker, and like, you know, like I get it, Wesker, Umbrella Corp, but like, I don't know, man. Besides, you know, him being a super difficult boss in the video games, besides that, I really didn't give a shit what color skin he was.
That's not even the big issue. The big issue is that it's yet another
Yes.
Netflix live adaptation that's going to be dead on arrival.
It looks horrible, dude. Just this photo alone, and it's not even because you might, oh, he's only mad because it's all broads. This looks like a shitty CW Riverdale like show, but to a zombie background. Like,
this could be a new season of the Kardashians. Instead of Kanye, they have this poor guy as their victim.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm looking at this, and this looks like a fucking nightmare, man. This looks like a nightmare for me to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know what, because nothing about it screams Resident Evil.
To sell you zombie survival.
Yeah, right. Where, like, hey, where does the survival horror come into play? Is you're supposed to survive? Oh, I get it. The survival horror is the actual TV show itself, and you're supposed to survive sitting through an entire episode. That's what it is. I cracked the case, Bale.
You did it, buddy. There's not even a single like Umbrella Corp like
where's the fucking
photo? Like,
come on, man.
Even on a t-shirt. Like,
show them all, dude. Show them
man.
all in a lab, man. Show them like, god damn it, dude. This looks like this does look like a shitty reality TV show. You know,
Oh, they might be in a lab because behind them there's this big tube thing. Herder.
You're right. I missed the big aluminum tube thing in the background, whatever the fuck that means. God, fucking yeah. Yoji says this show is Yoji said this show is a stillborn. Yeah.
Why do people still do Netflix live action adaptations of anything after all the examples of it not fucking working?
You know it is, man, because they made money on Witcher,
game.
dude. Witcher made them money, and people are into the Witcher show. I'm into the Witcher show. I'm really looking forward to season 2. I like that little clip that dropped today. Should we play that? It really isn't much to show. It's like 12 seconds.
Yeah,
Let me see.
I mean, it's free promotional material. If they get us for us promoting their free promotional material, then they can fuck right off.
I like your chutzpah, Bale. I'll get that. Damn Twitter. Netflix can dump $200 million for a season of a show and dump it after one season. None of their shows are safe. Yeah, I mean, especially not the ones that they look like they put any fucking. I mean, dude, you're not even trying.
Jupiter's Legacy got canceled.
It did. At least they gave it the old college try. You know, they try to make the comic book real. Now they may have failed.
Yeah.
Oh, Hockey didn't like the Witcher show. How come, bud?
Yeah, me neither. I just watched it out of respect for Henry Cavill.
What is it that you didn't like?
You asking me or you asking Hockey?
Well, I know you didn't. I know why you didn't like it.
like-
You're a traditionalist, a loyalist. You like things sticking close to the source material. But I wonder if there's anything else to the reason why Hockey didn't like it.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you know what? I'm gonna say this after we look at the Witcher teaser because it's gonna have more context.
Let's go. That's it.
I need to understand.
Danger. But yeah, looks like this episode's gonna be pretty. Just based on this footage alone, it's gonna be pretty Siri based, which is fine by me. Syrian, Geralt. How do you say his name? Is it Geralt? Is it Geralt?
Get up.
Whatever the fuck his name is, dude. Wait, Hockey hasn't answered me yet, so we're just not gonna know. Oh, there he is. The pacing was bad. There was hardly any actual Witcher doing his thing. That's fair. There could have been more
side character.
There could have been more Witchering happening. I feel like they're gonna amend that though this season.
Might break your heart here because what they're, at least from this trailer, what they're adapting is what I'm reading right now because I'm going through the books and I'm on book 2, and it's heavily towards Siri. But here's the thing, it's heavily leaning towards Siri, but Geralt is almost always there. Like those snow scenes and her training is all in the Witcher's castle. So it's Geralt and a few other witches who are supposed to be there. He's her father figure. He's her dad. So if he's not there, it would be a complete travesty. And he's a front and forward figure as well because all her teaching is coming through him. And Triss Merigold is supposed to show up there too. And afterwards they do split off, and when Ciri joins the wizard school, then it's normal for it to be more Ciri centric. But here's the thing, a chapter later, Geralt shows up again. Because it's his fucking book.
Weird. I wonder how Netflix is gonna do that because they know they're gonna listen, man. They've got Henry Cavill. They're paying Henry Cavill millions of dollars to be the Witcher. It's the Witcher show. I wouldn't be surprised if they took some some license, some artistic license.
I mean, not in this chapter, but the chapter before this one that I read, there is this fucking hot and heavy and steamy sex scene between Geralt and Yennefer. So, if you don't use Henry Cavill for that, what the fuck are you gonna use him for?
Yeah, let's see Henry Cavill's buttocks. All right, is there anything else? I think we said all there is to say. I don't think there's any news that we missed. Guys, next week we're gonna be talking about Loki season 1, episode 2. Not a full recap, just a conversation about it. After, we're just gonna chat about what we liked about the episode, what we didn't like, where we think it's going. and its implications in the overall MCU. And
A quick skim. Hopefully it delivers on more, because
yeah,
I understand why they did the heavy exposition thing, but I'm not a fan of it. I think that is a symptom of the few episodes they have. If they have 6 episodes, then yeah, it makes total sense that they fist you up the ass with this info dump in episode 1. Instead of just gradually showing you, they just gotta tell you everything from the get-go, which it can be done better, and it should be.
Yoji says Hiddleston's contract is up after Loki. Well, listen, dude, you know whose contract is completely expired? The fuck is that tall blonde? Paul Bettany. Paul and Bettany's contract is up. It's like up. It's done. He's no longer a paid Marvel employee until he signs another contract. So.
Wait, who does he play? Because I
Vision.
can't make connection of name and face. Oh, Vision.
Paul Bettany's Vision. Okay,
Well,
that's it. We're done,
all we
babe.
can do is wait and see.
We just have to wait and see. I want to take this moment to thank my patrons. Thank you, patrons. Without this, well, I'd still be doing this, but I'd be less poor, or I'd be more poor if you didn't help me out. So thank you, and for that, you get the credit screen. Sarah, Victoria, Danielle, Purnima, Nab, Ryan, Kabong, Breba, Batman Lady, Samantha. Thank you, Bale. Thank you, Chat. Thank you, Eric Canetti. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Coffee. Thank you, Hockey, Keith, Yoji, and everybody else who's chimed in. You guys are fucking awesome. I'll see you all on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Have a good weekend, Bale.
Have a great weekend. Call a chat. Thank you for stopping by yet again to support the recap podcast.